Welcome to Bodhi Unified Flow. I'm Dr. Mari Muthu, your host. In this space, we simplify complexity and amplify performance. So let me ask you something. Have you ever been part of a project that just went off the rails? Wildly over budget or completely missing its deadline? It's a frustratingly common problem, right? Well, today we're going to dive into the powerful discipline of project control and tracking. We're going to give you the tools to keep your projects exactly where they need to be, on time and on budget.
So here's what we've got on tap. We're going to kick things off by looking at why control really matters. Then, we'll build a solid foundation. The key concepts you've just got to know. After that, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of managing your budget and schedule with some really powerful metrics. We'll also take a look at how modern tech is changing the whole game. And of course, I'll leave you with some key takeaways you can start using right away.
And by the time we're done here, my goal is for you to be able to apply key metrics to your own projects, to really get the vital role of a baseline and, to make that shift from just reacting to problems to proactively controlling your project's destiny. Sound good? All right, let's dive in.
Okay, first things first. Let's tackle the big question. Why does any of this matter so much? Why is project control more than just, paperwork? Why is it the absolute core engine of success? Well, the answer, as it so often does, really comes down to the numbers.
Take a look at this number, 5.2%. Now, it might not seem like a huge number at first glance, but trust me, what it represents, it's absolutely staggering.
According to the Project Management Institute, that's the global average for wasted investment on projects. Just gone, all because of poor performance. We're talking about a massive global economic drain here. And that's why effective project control isn't just about ticking boxes. It's about protecting every single dollar, every single bit of effort invested in your vision.
Okay, so now that we get the stakes, let's build our foundation. To control a project, you first got to speak its language. Think of this section as learning the grammar, the fundamental principles that let us measure, understand, and guide a project's health.
It's best to think of project control as a continuous cycle. It's not a one-and-done thing. So, step 1, you set your standards. That's your budgets, your schedules. Step 2, you monitor what's actually happening on the ground. Step 3, you identify any differences. We call these variances between your plan and reality. And finally, the most critical step of all, step 4, you take corrective action to get things back on track. It's that simple, but that powerful.
And this really gets to the very heart of all project management. On one side, you've got what should happen, the plan, right? It's the clean blueprint, the approved budget, the perfect schedule. But on the other side, well, that's what did happen, the reality. And reality is often messy, it's unpredictable. The entire point of a project control system is to manage that gap between these two worlds.
So how do you manage that gap? Well, you need a solid starting point, a single source of truth. And that, my friends, is your baseline. This isn't just some rough draft. It's the official, approved version of your plan. It becomes the yardstick, the ruler you use to measure everything that happens next. Honestly, without a solid locked-in baseline, saying you're on track is just pure guesswork.
All right, with our foundation firmly in place, let's talk about the money. Because it's one thing to just track expenses, right? But how do we really understand if we're getting our money's worth? For that, we're going to turn to an incredibly powerful, industry-standard technique called Earned Value Management, or EVM for short. Now, EVM can look a little complex at first, but I promise you, it boils down to 3 really simple ideas. First, you've got planned value, or PV. That's just the budgeted value of the work you plan to have done by now. Then there's earned value, or EV. This is the budgeted value of the work you've actually completed. And finally, actual cost, or AC. That's just the real money you've spent so far. Let's make it super simple. Imagine you're building a fence. The plan is to build 10 meters, budgeted at $100 per meter over 10 days. Okay, so by day 5, your planned value is $500, half the work. But let's say you've only built 4 meters. Well, the value of that completed work, your earned value, is $400. And if it costs you $450 to build those 4 meters, that's your actual cost. See? 3 different numbers telling 3 different parts of the story. Now here's where the magic happens. When we combine these numbers, we get something called the Cost Performance Index, or CPI. The formula is simple. It's just your earned value divided by your actual cost. Think of it as your project's financial health score. It tells you exactly how much bang you're getting for every buck you spend.
And interpreting the CPI, it's beautifully simple.
If your CPI is greater than 1, you're getting more than $1 worth of value for every dollar you spend. That's great, you're under budget. But if it's less than 1, you're spending more than the work is actually worth. You are over budget, and that's a big red flag, an early warning sign to investigate immediately. Watching your CPI trend is one of the most powerful ways to predict your final project cost.
But look, cost is only half the story, right? A project that's perfectly on budget but a year late, well, that's still a failure in most books. So let's pivot to the other critical piece of the puzzle, time. How do we keep that project schedule from slipping away from us?
Well, just like CPI measures our cost efficiency, we have the Schedule Performance Index, or SPI, to measure our time efficiency. And the formula is really similar. It's the ratio of our earned value to our planned value. It perfectly answers the question, are we actually getting the work done at the rate we plan to?
And just like before, the interpretation is super direct. An SPI greater than 1? Fantastic. It means you've done more work than you planned. You're ahead of schedule. An SPI less than 1? That's your clear signal that you're falling behind. You see, when you put CPI and SPI together, they give you this incredibly powerful, numbers-based dashboard on the real health of your project.
But numbers are only part of the story. To really get a grip on your schedule, sometimes you just need to see it. And that's where tools like Gantt charts are so brilliant. They give you a visual roadmap of your entire project, showing not just the tasks, but how they all connect and depend on each other. This is how you find that all-important critical path, that one sequence of tasks that has zero slack, the one you absolutely cannot delay if you want to finish on time.
Now, everything we've talked about so far, this is the bedrock of project management, and it has been for years. But now, technology is completely supercharging our ability to do all of this. We're making this massive leap from looking in the rearview mirror at last month's data to having a real-time GPS for our projects. Let's see what that looks like.
This diagram shows it perfectly. This is how modern project control works today. Your plan, it lives in the cloud. As work gets done out on site, your team members can update their progress right on their phones or tablets. That data zips back to the cloud instantly, where it's automatically compared against the plan. And you, the project manager, you see it all happening on a dashboard in real time. That feedback loop that used to take weeks or maybe days, it now takes minutes.
Now, with all this real-time data flying around, we need super simple ways to communicate the project's status. And that's where the RAG system, red, amber, green, is just genius. It's a visual language everyone understands. Green, we're on track with budget and schedule. Amber, there are some emerging risks we need to watch. And red, that's a significant issue that demands immediate action. It's an incredibly simple but powerful way to show the project's health to anyone at a single glance.
Wow, we've covered a ton of ground, haven't we? From the fundamental why of control all the way to the modern how of these new integrated systems. So let's wrap things up and distill all of this down to the most critical takeaways that you can start applying right away.
So what are the absolute key things to remember? Number 1, your baseline is your single source of truth. Lock it in. It's your project's anchor. 2, control is an active, forward-looking discipline. Don't just report on the past. Steer the future. 3, CPI and SPI, make them your best friends. They are your project's early warning system. It's vital science. And finally, number 4, embrace modern systems. They let you be proactive, not just reactive.
And just so you know, the concepts we've talked about today aren't just ideas I've made up. They're grounded in the extensive body of knowledge developed by leading professional organizations like the Project Management Institute, the Association for Project Management, and also pioneering research from groups like the International Group for Lean Construction. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Effective project control. It really isn't about looking in the rearview mirror at what's already happened. It's about grabbing the steering wheel and actively guiding your project's future. It's about taking charge to make sure you reach your destination successfully. So as we close, ask yourself, what's one step you can take, starting today, to get a better handle on your project's future? Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Dr. Mari Muthu for Bodhi Unified Flow.